Sagittarius horoscope. Saturn retrograde. A lesson in communication, community, and hidden wealth. August 23rd, 2025 to February 13th, 2026. Sometimes the truth isn't loud. It comes as a quiet whisper, asking you to listen more closely. Welcome, Sagittarius, the zodiac's explorer, philosopher, and truth seeker. You are always aiming for higher ideals, future goals, and far horizons. But starting August 23rd, 2025, the cosmos has something a bit more grounded in store for you. Saturn, the planet of karma, responsibility, and structure, begins its retrograde journey into your third house, the house of communication, siblings, travel, and your immediate social circle. Now, Sagittarius, this might not be as flashy as a Jupiter transit or as wild as a Uranus shift. But don't underestimate it. This Saturn retrograde is personal, and it's going to shape the way you think, speak, relate, and connect with your environment in ways that can profoundly influence your finances, your emotional growth, and your path forward. Let's unpack what this means for you in depth. 1. Money and community. The financial web of relationships first. Let's start with something you always have a keen eye on: your finances. Saturn is a natural ruler of your second house of money, and during this retrograde, it's sitting in your third house, which governs your network of siblings, peers, and local community. What does that mean? Expect the following. Your financial well-being will be directly influenced by the people around you, especially people from your past. You may find yourself working with an old friend, business partner, or sibling again, perhaps in a freelance or shared investment. An old opportunity to invest or collaborate might reappear, especially if it was once left unresolved or unclear. Example: let's say you once planned to open a cafe with a friend but backed out due to timing. During the Saturn retrograde, they may call you back with a revised plan, and this time, you're more ready, grounded, and cautious. Key advice: don't jump into anything blindly, especially financial commitments tied to personal relationships. Saturn retrograde rewards maturity, due diligence, and clarity. 2. Words as currency. Communication under Saturn's microscope. The third house is also the house of speech, messaging, learning, and mindset. And when Saturn, planet of tests, goes retrograde here, it puts your communication style under review. You may notice a tendency to speak less, listen more, and choose your words more deliberately. Situations where past misunderstandings resurface, especially in friendships or close work relationships. A desire to learn a new communication skill, public speaking, writing, languages that you once started but never finished. Example: maybe years ago you started learning graphic design or a foreign language and quit halfway. Now you're back at it, but with more discipline and purpose. Key advice: think before you speak. Think twice before you post. If a conversation needs closure, now's the time to revisit it. 3. Reconnecting with siblings and old friends. The third house also governs siblings, cousins, childhood friends, and your tribe, those who feel familiar and close. Saturn retrograde brings unfinished karma from these relationships back into focus. Watch for a sibling or old friend reaching out after a long silence. The need to heal old wounds or clarify past conflicts. Opportunities to work or travel with siblings or community members. Example: let's say your brother once invited you to join his company, but things ended with tension. During this retrograde, the door may reopen, but only if you're both ready to speak from a place of maturity and forgiveness. Key advice: rebuild but don't repeat. Make peace, but don't lose your boundaries. Saturn offers the past as a teacher, not a trap. 4. Short journeys, long lessons, local travel, and daily life. With Saturn retrograding through your third house, short distance travel becomes more meaningful. These aren't vacation trips, they're purposeful and sometimes tiring. Expect a rise in work-related travel, errands, or commutes. Encounters with people you haven't seen in years during these journeys. Situations that test your patience on the road, delays, detours, breakdowns. Example: You plan a short trip to visit a cousin, but find yourself stuck in traffic, having deep conversations that change your perspective. Saturn teaches through inconvenience and reflection. Key advice: treat every small journey as a lesson. Don't rush. Keep your mind open. Something important is hiding in the mundane. 5. Mental health, inner dialogue, and emotional clarity. This transit can feel mentally heavy at times. You may not be suffering, exactly, but you're being asked to reflect deeply on your thought patterns. You may experience overthinking or emotional exhaustion, especially tied to social situations. Feelings of mental clutter or emotional heaviness, but also an emerging sense of clarity. A realization that some thoughts aren't yours, they've been absorbed from your environment. Example: you've always felt anxious about speaking up in meetings. During this retrograde, you trace it back to something a teacher or parent once said. With awareness, the cycle breaks. Key advice: journal, meditate, talk to someone. Saturn retrograde helps you upgrade your inner voice, but you have to slow down to hear it. 6. Social spending. The hidden cost of connection. Here's a subtle but important impact. Increased spending linked to your social life. You might spend more on gatherings, reunions, or small community events. Feel pressure to contribute to family or peer-related obligations. Invest in tools or platforms that help you express or market yourself, like upgrading your laptop, enrolling in a class, or buying audio gear. Example: you join a writing group that requires travel and fees, but it connects you with someone who changes your professional life. Worth it? Probably, but Saturn wants you to budget wisely. Key advice: ask yourself, is this expense helping me grow or just helping me escape? 7. Saturn and Rahu. The power and the trap of strategic alliances. During this retrograde, Saturn will conjunct Rahu, the north node, in your 3rd house. A powerful but slippery combo. This brings opportunities for powerful alliances, especially with people who challenge your thinking. A pull toward marketing, media, or high-impact communication platforms. But also the risk of deception, confusion, or overly idealistic partnerships. Example: a charismatic person pitches a joint business venture. They seem visionary, but Saturn warns: check the facts, read the fine print, don't be dazzled. Key advice: strategic partnerships can bring wealth, but only if they're grounded in transparency. Don't let dreams blind you to red flags. 8. The big picture. Slowing down to build the right foundation. As a Sagittarius, you're all about the big leap, but this retrograde asks for small, steady steps. This is a time to reassess how you think, speak, and learn. Reconnect with people who matter and release those who don't. Get back to basics, your daily rhythm, your habits, your routines. Example: you start waking up early, journaling, walking every morning. After 3 months, your clarity, creativity, and confidence return, quietly but powerfully. Key advice: don't underestimate the power of slow rituals. Saturn retrograde is building your internal muscle. That's where the real growth begins. Key timeline snapshots. Late August to mid-September 2025. Reunions with old contacts. Slowdowns in communication tech or travel. October to December 2025. Strategic discussions around business, partnerships, or shared investments. January to February 2026. Emotional closure, finishing long-standing conversations, beginning to speak with new authority. Summary table. What Saturn retrograde means for Sagittarius theme: what to expect, what to do, money, and community income tied to people around you. Collaborate wisely, review old deals, communication, speaking more carefully, learning returns, finish old skills, journal, reflect siblings and peers, reconnection and resolution, rebuild with maturity, travel and routine, more local travel, logistical challenges, stay patient, find meaning in it, mental health, internal pressure, reflection, seek clarity, not perfection, spending habits, costs linked to social life and expression, budget. But don't shut down growth, alliances, strategic partnerships, real or deceptive, trust your gut, vet your options. Final thoughts. Your mind is your currency, dear Sagittarius. This Saturn retrograde isn't about holding you back. It's about helping you refine the way you think, speak, and connect, so that when your next big leap comes, you're not just brave, you're wise. You're being asked to step up as a communicator, a thinker, a sibling, a citizen, and a storyteller. Don't be afraid to say less and listen more. Don't shy away from the awkward silence. It might be where the truth is hiding. The universe is whispering, Sagittarius. Will you slow down enough to hear it?